A 20-year-old of Castle Bruce charged with murder. Salary negotiations for public officers to start with a different approach. And a Belgian priest who made Dominica his home passes away at 85 years. I am Idona John Baptist with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. Welcome back. A 20-year-old of Castle Bruce is facing a murder charge in the December 1st stabbing death of 22-year-old Gerard Joseph of the same community. Andrea Louis explains.
Lester Roberts appeared before a Rosa magistrate on Monday where the charge of murder was read to him. However, Roberts was not allowed to plea since murder is an indictable offense to be tried before a judge and jury. Gerard Joseph was pronounced dead at the Princess Margaret Hospital after he was stabbed in the chest last Thursday night. His 24-year-old brother had also sustained injuries to the lower abdomen during the 8:45 p.m. incident and was admitted to the hospital.
In other major developments, a meeting planned for next week will signal the start of negotiations for salary increases on behalf of public officers for the 2015 to 2018 period. The executive of the Public Service Union is expected to meet with a government negotiating team on December 14 at the invitation of the Chief Personnel Officer. General Secretary of the PSU, Thomas Later, however, notes a different approach this time around on government side leading up to the negotiating process.
But this time, we have been asked to present a formal proposal. That to me does not make sense, because once we have written to you, the letter is signed by the General Secretary of the Union, who is the officer authorized to write on behalf of the Union. All correspondence to the PSU goes from the General Secretary and to the General Secretary. And the Union's letterhead was used. So as far as I'm concerned, we have made a formal request for salary negotiations, for salaries, or salary revision. So I hope it is not a delay tactics, and I hope that when we indeed have this meeting on the 14th, that there will be no reason to ask for them to postpone the meeting, and that once we meet, we can just continue.
Later says that they still await a counter proposal in response to the PSU's first proposal in June this year.
The way it has been done in the past is that we would present a proposal to the government, and the government would submit a counter proposal to us, and then we would meet for first session of negotiations. At that discussion, we would provide government with justification for whatever that we are asking, and they likewise would seek or try to give us justification for whatever they are offering, and then the discussion, the argument will start. During the negotiations, we would some changes could be made, and next time we look at it, there are times when we would have to go back to our principals, and they likewise would go back to theirs, and then it's a process that continues for a period of for a few weeks.
The PSU is asking for a 15% increase for public officers to be offered at 5% for each year for the 2015 to 2018 period. Dominica's largest workforce is being cautioned to change with the times in order to remain current and competitive. The words of advice came from Minister for Public Service and Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit when he addressed the Public Service Awards ceremony over the weekend.
In this competitive global arena, our small size and vulnerabilities are no longer considered to be primary factors for preferential treatment, nor are they sufficient to cushion us from the harsh realities of globalization and trade liberalization. Therefore, we have been called upon to identify and implement new responses and strategies to combat the likely effects and impact of globalization on our economy.
The Prime Minister pointed out that the CARICOM single market and economy also has its challenges for the public sector in the region.
The imperatives of the CSME, for example, will pose major challenges for the public service as more pressure is being placed on government to address issues such as changing relationships among member states, offsetting of the balance of skilled manpower within states, and the composition of civil society as a whole. However, issues of sovereignty remain prominent on this agenda and will require our collective knowledge, skills, and energies to bring about the necessary changes in our governance structures.
Mr. Skerritt says that the expectations of the public are changing, hence, public servants need to adapt to meet the needs of the population.
There continues to be a real shift in public expectation. Society today is more consumer-oriented, and therefore services must be delivered in a timely, transparent, and courteous manner in order not to operate as a deterrent to cost-effective and profitable operations of the business sector.
Meantime, several public officers were awarded for their performance in the service. Here's Andrea Louis.
The Public Officer of the Year Award and Junior Officer Award went to Shireen Carbon. O'Neill Benjamin got the Jerry Augustine Award, Khadijah Paul won the Temporary Officer Award, Cassandra Williams received the Senior Officer Award and the Minister for Public Service Award for Best Attendance of an Individual. Belinda Charles and Shaka Dangleben were jointly awarded the Middle Management Award. Carrie Barron received the Senior Management Award. Emmeline Burnett Honoré got the Chief Personnel Officers Award. The Team Award went to the Health Promotion Unit, and the Ministry of Public Works and Ports received the Minister for Public Service Award for Best Attendance of a Department. The ceremony was held under the theme, Embracing the Challenge, Rethink, Rebuild, Transform.
The Caribbean community, CARICOM, is undergoing a reformation process to become more effective and accountable. CARICOM Secretary General, His Excellency Erwin Larrock, says the reform of the CARICOM Secretariat was top on his agenda when he took up the post in 2011.
I spoke then against the backdrop of the heads of government decision in 2010 to commission an independent review of the CARICOM Secretariat. The recommendations of that review included a three-step approach to CARICOM's reform and restructuring process. 1. Prioritization and the delivery of a narrow range of specific, practical, and achievable benefits over a reasonably short time horizon. 2. Reorganization and strengthening of the CARICOM construct, including the Secretariat and regional institutions, to focus on the management of implementation. And 3. A fundamental restructuring of the Secretariat to add value to what member states can do individually.
For the first time in CARICOM's 43-year history, there is now a strategic plan to guide the institution forward. The timeline for this initial strategic plan is 2015 to 2019.
We'll also be looking at the decision-making processes in the community and ask similar questions about our organs and bodies. I am referring here to the Conference of Heads of Government, the Ministerial Councils, the Legal Affairs Committee, and the Committee of Ambassadors. The Secretariat must guide the process of making the councils more strategic. I am the first to admit that the agendas of these councils are much too long, and that items remain on the agenda for much too long as well. The Secretariat, for its part, must bring matters to the attention of the ministers that are ripe for decision-making or require strategic direction. We must be thoroughly prepared.
Mr. Larrock explained that there will be checks and balances in place to ensure the reform process meets its targets.
With the help of funding from the Caribbean Development Bank, we are currently implementing a 2-year project to design a monitoring and evaluation system for the community, which will include performance scorecards. Our intent is to ensure that we use an evidence-based approach that will focus on results and allow us to track the progress of integration and the specific program and project outcomes which the Secretariat, each member state, and each institution provide. We must be accountable.
You're watching Channel 5 News. The long wait for cataract and pterygium eye patients gets some attention. That and more next. Thanks for staying with us. The Roman Catholic community in Dominica and around the region is mourning the loss of one of its long-serving Redemptorist priests. Andrea Louis has that story.
Father Charles Vermeulen, born in Belgium in 1931, was ordained to the priesthood in 1957 and came to the Caribbean in 1959. Vermeulen was aged 85 when he passed away at the Princess Margaret Hospital on Sunday, 4th December, after a short illness. Vicar of the English-speaking Caribbean Redemptorists and director of the Holy Redeemer Retreat House, Father Peter Hill, says builder is the most appropriate word to describe Father Charles.
From a builder perspective, he built a lot of buildings, a lot of churches. Some examples: the cafeteria at St. Martin's School, the chapel in Mon5thDec2k16News, the parish hall in St. Alphonsus, the infirmary, Fatima Church, St. Mary's Primary, and of course we're right here at the Retreat House in Eggleston. He was also a builder of faith. Father Charles was active in prison ministry. Catechism was one of his big loves. And in terms of building faith, one of the ways Father Charles built the faith in the community, which I have modeled and taken that example as a priest, is that Father Charles would always gather with a group of lay people to break open the Sunday readings on, usually it would be Thursday nights, and he would be there, they would discuss, they would pray over the readings, they would argue over the text, and it was a way of him feeding his own faith life, but also the faith life of the people.
Father Charles's last stint as parish priest was in the Fatima parish from 2000 to 2008.
He retired, I believe, officially around 2010, but I don't think Father Charles would allow me to say that, because Father Charles, certainly, as those who know him, was never a retired man. He never stopped working. He loved working. Even when he was in our house in Belfast, he would still say Mass on Sundays once he was able, come up here to the retreat house to help out with, different retreats. So he was retired, but always working.
Father Charles also served in the Caribbean countries of Antigua, St. Kitts, and Marie-Galante. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
On the health scene, Director General of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, Dr. Carissa Etienne, is counting on new technologies to help in the fight against the Zika and dengue fever-carrying mosquito. PAHO has for over 60 years been looking at ways to address mosquito-borne diseases, going back to a 1947 resolution. Dr. Etienne said the need to eliminate the Aedes aegypti mosquito population is urgent. This is what she told Barbadian journalist Lisa Broom on a recent visit to Barbados to observe its healthcare system.
And we don't know if the current methods that are being used, how effective they are. Obviously, as long as that's what we have, we need to continue. Importantly, the new technologies that are being developed, we hope that will become and prove to be effective. So the World Health Organization has not approved any of them, but they have said that for one or two of those technologies, they would be willing to partner, but to support it as a pilot program and see what are the results that we get from this. But yeah, we need to do something yesterday.
She recognizes that the Aedes aegypti mosquito's resistance to the DDT insecticide is among factors which has slowed down the mosquito control effort. She wants this effort to not rely solely on health bodies. In
the 50s, 60s, we were able in many countries to eliminate Aedes aegypti mosquito. However, some pockets remained. Some pockets remained, and over time, with relaxation of the Aedes aegypti eradication program, the emergence of resistance to DDT, because that was the insecticide that we used. So resistance to DDT plus resistance to the use of DDT because of its questionable complications. So, so we saw that. I think that we will require a multi-pronged approach. We are monitoring the insecticides that are being used for the possible emergence of resistance to those insecticides, but it will take more than that.
Hundreds of eye patients stuck on waiting lists in the public system should soon receive free surgery to prevent possible blindness. These patients with pterygium and cataracts will be screened by the end of this week for free surgery by Venezuelan ophthalmologists. The proposed surgery is expected to be done between February and March 2017. This is part of the Misión Milagro or Miracle Mission, a project created by former Cuban President Fidel Castro and developed by the former Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. Dominica is the only non-Latin American country benefiting from the program, which is seeking to help 6 million Latin Americans. Screenings began at the Roseau Health District on Sunday at the Venezuelan Institute. Health Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru told the media the Venezuelan eye mission will relieve the backlog of patients in the public eye care program.
And these patients who need surgery will have full preoperative testing conducted, and those who qualify will have access to surgery, most of which will occur right in Dominica, with the help of the highly trained and competent teams of ophthalmologists from Venezuela. We've been reassured and given the commitment of our Venezuelan counterparts that to ensure that there's not going to be a long waiting period after screening, because in fact this is what this mission is hoping to fix this long waiting list that we've had for a few years, in spite of the Herculean effort of Dr. Ricky that I said. Eye care problems are something that comes along, especially when you hit the 40-50 mark like myself, and because of that the public health care program, eye care program, has been overwhelmed. So we're hoping that this mission kind of gets things back on track. So I want to reassure the public that there's not going to be this long waiting list, because it would have really been an effort in vain then.
Patients were already assessed by the local eye team before the Venezuelan mission.
There are a number of persons who have been assessed by the Dominica eye team as needing cataract and pterygium eye surgery. These persons are on our priority list right now, and most of them are the elderly, mainly in the 7 health districts. So we'll be giving priority to these patients because most of them have dates and they were on a long waiting list. And we are thankful for the Miracle Eye Care program coming on board to assist us in this project. The mission will start with them, and they will be contacted to come in for assessment by the mission doctors.
In related news, caretakers of elderly people to receive eye screenings this week are being advised not to abandon them during the activity. Screenings continued at the Marigot Health District on Monday. Tuesday will be at Portsmouth, Wednesday Castle Bruce, Thursday Granby, Friday St. Joseph, and Saturday at Laplane. People 18 and over are being targeted. Elderly patients will be given priority in the lines.
So it would be essential that every elderly person, that they're accompanied by a family member or somebody who can interact with them. And not just that, you don't want an elderly person saying yes to surgery and on the day they're like, what are you going to do to me? So we would need some family member who they trust, because now you're sitting in front of a foreigner saying, I'm going to do this to you. And some of them will comply, not understanding fully the ramifications of what they've just said yes to. We're asking that you ensure that your elderly persons are dropped off and are picked up. So you don't bring them in the middle of the day. You drop them off early enough. They will be given priority, like I said.
People are also being encouraged to walk with their medical records book and medications.
The reason for that being, we would like, if you are chosen for surgery or if you're benchmarked to have surgery whenever the team returns, that if you are noted to be unstable in any way, you can be referred back to your district medical officers so that we can stabilize you and you're not taken off that list because you really need the surgery, but your blood pressure is controlled, your blood pressure is uncontrolled, because this could cause consequences and complications in the end. So instead of doing good to you, it would have done a lot of harm to you.
The Venezuelans end their screening mission here on December 11. Health authorities say surgery dates will be announced later. That's news. Kenny Williams is next with your sports highlights.
First up, defending champion Central Cooperative Credit Union Dublin Football Club has broken a three-way tie to be the only team at the top of the points table in the DFA Pro Premier League over the weekend. In the featured match on Sunday between the former and the defending champions, Dublin had home field advantage when they edged out Exodus Football Club 1-0. From this win, Exodus is no longer tied with Dublin at the top, with Dublin moving on with 28 points. Ruverson Pelry scored a beautiful header in the 33rd minute of play for that all-important win. In other games, Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers had the RIC Kensborough team underneath their heel for a 5-1 defeat. Malcolm Joseph registered a hat-trick for Bombers, with Curtis St. Rose getting 2. Gary Defoe scored for Kensborough. Caribbean Cool Harlem United beat Bathurst State 3-1. Eustace Marshall, Errol Blaise, and Pernell Walsh scored 1 each for Harlem, with Calvin Christopher netting for Bathurst State. And in the clash of the newly promoted teams, Waukee Rollers suffered yet another defeat of the season when they went down to Petero Caribe Point Michel 1-0. Hanif Gregoire scored late in the second half to secure the win for his team. Sadiko Southeast and Middleham United played to a 1-1 draw. Jocelyn Prince scored for Southeast, while Kimon John Baptist was the scorer for Middleham. Checking out action in the Division 1 League, Point Michel FC defeated Trafalgar 2-1 at Newtown. Elton Lafayette scored 2 for Point Michel, with Jervan Bonney scoring for Trafalgar. MV Maxon Bombers edged out Mahosoka Strikers 3-2 at Benjamin's Park. Usher George registered a hat-trick for Bombers, with Kazimi Benjamin and Dylan Augustine scoring for Maho. Club Lubier defeated St. Mary's Cooperative Credit Union Delton United 4-2 in the first match of a doubleheader. Kyle Delsol found the back of the nets 3 times, while Oles Owando chipped in with 1. Delwil John Baptist and Mark Donald Dellis did the scoring for Delton. In the second game, Gully Dream Team went past All Saints FC 3-1. Kimran Burke netted twice for Gully, with 1 from Joachim Dominic. John Ulrich scored for All Saints. Locally, Point Michel Cricket Academy and Police Sports Club have booked spots in the Dominica Cricket Association's Intermediate T20 League, with wins in their respective semi-final matches on the weekend. In the Point Michel versus Marino Evergreen game, Point Michel took the match by 4 wickets. Evergreen batted first and was bowled out for 86 runs. Kasim Peltier took 3 for 4, Jay Francis 3 for 26, and Clever Martin 3 for 16. In reply, the Point Michel side posted 87 for 6. Meantime, on Sunday, Police Sports Club defeated Starlights by 5 wickets. Starlights was first at the crease and scored 91 for 6. Richard Anselm top scored with 27. Vivian Deja picked up 2 for 16, and Brendan Sanford 2 for 22 for Police. Set 92 to win, Police finished on 96 for 5 in 18.3 overs. Albert George had a game high of 35, while Vivian Augustine chipped in with 20. Doran Alford picked up 3 for 15 for Starlights. Police Sports Club and Point Michel Cricket Academy will meet up in the finals in January. Meantime, one high school football coach here is concerned over the level of control referees have over games. His comments follow the injury of 2 players from the recent under-17 match between Domlet Dominica Grammar School and Portsmouth Secondary.
The first incident, I saw it. The second one, I was on my way from the hospital when the second one occurred. But the first one, I mean, if that's my opinion, if I was a referee, I mean, the player would have gotten a yellow card or a red card. There are certain times you have to take charge of the game very, very early in the game. And that's one of the problems that throughout the season with certain officials.
He says the safety of players should be priority during the game.
But I believe the officials should look at the safety of the players. I mean, you have a player committing an infringement 4 or 5 times consecutively. You got to call that player, hey, you got to calm down, try and play the ball, take charge of the game. And that's one of the things some of the officials are not doing. But again, as I said, the game cannot be played with an official. So I'm not crying down any official. I just believe that the game should be played in the spirit of the game, which is football. You're trying to play the ball and not trying to take off players to win a match.
Next up, Anthony Allen and Rakeem Cornwall are the top performers from the recently concluded 3rd round of the PCL Regional 4-Day Tournament. Barbados Pride's left-handed opener, Allen, has been the most prolific batsman so far, with 443 runs from 5 innings in 3 matches at an average of 88.6. He entered the first break in the season with 4 successive scores of 50 runs or more, including a maiden first-class 100 of 100 186 against Trinidad and Tobago Red Force in the second round of the competition. The 23-year-old, a former West Indies under-19 player, is the only batsman to aggregate more than 300 runs for the season. Cornwall, the Leeward Islands Hurricanes off-spin bowling all-rounder, has been the most successful with the ball so far, with 19 wickets at an average of 23.68 runs apiece. He has twice captured 5 wickets or more in an innings this season, including a best bowling performance of 6 for 82 against two-time defending champions Guyana Jaguars in the second round of matches. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. We'll see you in the next one.
The weather report is next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Korea. Today, the weather conditions at the Kinfield station were fair to occasionally cloudy with a few brief morning showers, and the weather conditions at the Douglas Charles station were generally cloudy. Today, a high pressure system was a dominant feature across the Lesser Antilles. Earlier visible satellite imagery showed some low-level clouds traversed across the area, and earlier radar imagery indicated just a few scattered showers to the southern portion of the Lesser Antilles. The weather tonight is expected to be fairly partly cloudy with a few brief showers, and some breezy conditions are expected as well. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with a few brief showers, and also some breezy conditions are anticipated. Let's take a look now at the marine forecast. Well, sea conditions will be moderate and waves are expected to be up to 7 feet. All users of the sea are advised to exercise caution. Let's take a look now at the 3-day forecast. Tomorrow, Tuesday, partly cloudy skies with a few brief showers and, of course, some breezy conditions. And on Wednesday, a trough system will be approaching the area. Partly cloudy to occasional cloudy skies with some showers is expected. And by Thursday, the trough system will be affecting the area. Therefore, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with the possibility of some thunderstorms, and again some breezy conditions can be expected on that day. Well, tomorrow a high pressure system will be the dominant feature affecting the Lesser Antilles. Therefore, partly cloudy skies with a few brief showers can be expected for most of the islands of the Lesser Antilles. Let's take a look at the international city forecast. Well, the city of New York can expect some cloudy skies, overcast skies for the city of Miami. London may experience some fog and overcast skies with some thunderstorm for the city of Caracas. And the city of Beijing may experience some beautiful sunny skies. The sunrise tomorrow at 6:19 a.m. and will set at 5:35 p.m. Please feel free to visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. A 20-year-old of Cassie Bruce charged with murder. Salary negotiations for public officers to start with a different approach. And a Belgian priest who made Dominica his home passes away at 85 years. Feel free to contact us at news@Mon5thDec2k16News. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Idonija Baptist, and to all our viewers around the world, thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.